Shalom, shalom, Akim. First and foremost, before I begin this lesson, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Racha HaKodash. The honors go out to the apostles, Ezra Millstone, who rule and teach well. Shalom, Wab, Barakium to you brothers and sisters out there. All right, this is Brother Malachi from the Great Millstone Nashville camp. And Lord, willing that this lesson is edifying to the hopeful elect. All right, I kind of got like a double topic here, quick hit I want to, throw up there, and Lord willing, it's edifying. All right, the first thing I got here is, a brother had told me that I guess there's some people talking about this, rapture being September 23rd. When you look into it, it says a South African man named Joshua. I would butcher that. I don't even know how to say that. Shared in a YouTube video that Jesus appeared to him, which we know the name isn't Jesus. All right. And we also know that this dream is probably complete BS. All right. Because first of all, we know, it says September 23rd or 24th, because I was going to say it's already almost 6 o'clock, September 23rd, but it doesn't even matter what time it is. Because we understand that even though we are at the end, we know that we don't know the day. All right, we don't know the day or the hour. Okay? We don't know that. The C-hip hasn't even came out yet, and this man's talking about September 23rd or 24th. Now, apparently he did say that back in 2018. Okay, but I guess some people, redug it up or something because oh shit, it's dude had a dream, about that, which, like I said, more than likely he saw Serapis Christus anyways. All right. And then on top of that, because we understand that, like it says in Joel, people of the earth, they'll get dreams, they'll get visions. Okay. We understand that. It's not just brothers in the truth, they get dreams. No, people in the world and even heathens can get them. Right. Spiritual dreams or, visions of the future, prophecy happening, like an Edomite might have a dream about slavery, like him going into slavery, or, Jake might, he might be in the world, but he might have a vision of, a famine, things like that happen. Okay. But for this man to say that Jesus appeared to him in a dream, no, cap, bro. That's straight cap. We already know he ain't talking about Yahweh Shai. He ain't talking about a so-called black man. And then you said that he would come to take my church on September 23rd or 24th, which he's not a pastor. It says he's just a simple person, all right, which it didn't make a difference if he was a pastor or not, because, well, actually it would, because if he said this, him saying this is already stupid, all right? If he says it as a pastor, so somebody that claims to know the Bible, knows the scriptures, that's even worse. So at least he didn't claim to be a pastor, all right? It says, although widely described as a pastor, he stated just a simple person, no title. So at least he's humble, and at least he ain't trying to make him out to be some sort of scholar, all right? Because, we're about to go into a couple scriptures that show that this dream is not backed up by the Bible, all right? So, just like how when people have so-called dreams or visions of hell. No, a lot of dreams. Let me start with that. Hold on. It's in the Apocrypha. Lord willing, it searches up fine. Dreams, fools. Yep. Sirach, chapter 34. Sirach, or Ecclesiastes, for those that are new. All right, it's also known as the book of Sirach. It says 34. And I'm going to start at verse 1. It says, the hopes of a man void of understanding are vain and false, and dreams lift up fools. Whoso regardeth dreams is like him that catcheth a shadow and followeth after the wind. All right, now, don't jump to a conclusion. All right, because when you first hear that, you're thinking, oh, so, dreams are complete BS. No. That's not, no. That's why you got to keep reading. All right, because, men do get spiritual dreams and visions. It happens. Okay. And for some brothers, I'm not one of those brothers, but some brothers get them often. It's a real thing. Okay. But there's a lot of dreams that we've all had that were complete bullshit. Okay. Completely false, completely through, bugged out even sometimes, and a lot of times it's Satan fucking with you, or, it's just this wicked, vile body, that's just completely demented and through, And I'm not laughing like that's funny, the situation we're in. I'm like laughing because I'm thinking about just how fucking wild that is. Like, our bodies are completely through, man. All right. But verse 3, It says the vision of dreams is the resemblance of one thing to another, even as the likeness of a face to a face. Of an unclean thing, what can be cleansed? Oh, Salaki, really, I could skip down. But I'll just go ahead and keep reading. Why not? It says, matter of fact, yeah, because this verse right here is really going to go into the second thing that I got, So yeah, the Wadiyah Bashmel Shai, that actually worked out well. All right, Sirach 34:4, it says, of an unclean thing, what can be cleansed? All right, it goes into, I want to say it's in Jeremiah, can an Ethiopian change his, can a leopard change his spots or an Ethiopian his skin? So basically him that is accustomed to do evil, he can't be good. And then I believe it's the book of Ecclesiastes. I think there might be two of them. It says, that which the Lord, the Most High, have made crooked, who can make straight? Right, which, ultimately is going to Esau Edom. All right, the self-proclaimed so-called white man. He is crooked. He is the wicked. All right, so and he's unclean. So it says of an unclean thing, what can be cleansed? Now, technically, he's a clean leper. All right, so when I'm saying unclean, some of them Edomites, they don't, they do be through and not clean, literally in their body. But what it means by unclean, when I'm talking about Esau, because, this is true in a literal sense too, right? Like a pig is an unclean animal and you can give it a bath, but it's still not literally clean. It might, its skin might be clean for the moment, but it's still unclean. All right, Esau is an unclean thing. The dude can shower every day, floss his teeth, all of that. He's still unclean because he's the wicked. All right, Malachi 1:4 and Malachi 4:1. You can throw that in as well. Okay, but Esau, his soul is unclean. All right, his skin, like I said, even though a lot of them be dirty, I'm not going to say a lot of them. All right, at least the ones that I see, they don't be dirty as hell. Well, then again, I'm not smelling people and shit, so, and I don't know what they do outside of it. But the point is, they're moved away from the caveman, they put on a suit, shave the beard, look professional, talk so-called, educated, but their soul is unclean. Okay? They're the wicked. They're defiled. They're abominable. They're the devil. Okay? It says, divinations and soothsayings and dreams are vain, and the heart fancieth as a woman's heart in travail. If they be not sent from the Most High, it's talking about dreams, in thy visitation, set not thy heart upon them. For dreams have deceived many, and they have failed that put their trust in them. See, so dreams have deceived many, and they have failed that put their trust in them. You see? And that's what just happened with this man and with whoever may be following this bugged out ideology. The dream deceived them, and it's going to fail them because they're thinking that they're getting out today or tomorrow, and it's not going to happen. And they have failed that put their trust in them. You see? So if they're not sent from the Most High, they're not backed up by the scriptures. If they're not in the spirit, and you'll know, man. Or especially if you talk to brothers about the dream and seek counsel, like what do you think it could mean, all that, Which most dreams I don't do that. Unless I believe it's a heavy dream, I may share it. But otherwise I usually just disregard a dream, man. Or I pull stuff from it, like pick the meat from the bones. Because I won't have a dream that's like all the way through spiritual. Or at least I can't think of one at the top. I might have had them in the past, but if anything, there's just maybe a couple things I can pick from it, and be like, okay, I need to apply, maybe it's a message, I need to apply this, or maybe it's, just a faith booster, even certain things that might be, you never know. Okay. But yeah, so I got that. Let me go ahead and pull this as well, because the whole thing about having a date for the return of the Lord is not backed up by the scriptures. As a matter of fact, the scriptures tell us that we don't know the date. Okay. Now, we know we're in the end times, that's for sure. All right, but let me get this. Hold on. But my Father only. Okay, there we go. Matthew chapter 24, verse 36 is in red, meaning Yahushua spoke these words. Obviously not in English, but it's translated, all right? The language that he spoke this in was Hebrew, all right? But if you go into the blue letter, it's going to show you Greek, all right, which was a later translation, all right? Hebrew, Greek, then English. Old Testament is Hebrew, then English. Matthew 24 and 36, it says, "But of that day and hour knoweth no man, no, not the angels of heaven, but my Father only." Only the Heavenly Father knows. All right, Yahushua is coming back like a thief in the night. Doesn't literally mean he's coming back at night. He's coming back like a thief in the night. So we don't know when. All right, so you can't say that. And then also, quick, third thing to add in there, rapture, go into the meaning of words, man. That's not in the Bible, bro. You know what is in the Bible? Chariots, so-called UFOs beaming Israelites up. All right, not getting raptured. All right, you don't want to get raptured if you go into the etymology of that word, man. I'm not even going to say that word again, probably for the rest of this lesson. All right, just go into the word, man. That's all I'm going to say. All right, anyways. So, yeah. Let me show these real quick. I got these from El Mukma, had posted them on YouTube. All right. So the first one here says, despite making up only 28% of the United States population, FBI data shows that white men are 55%, and you can read it. It's a lot of words that probably shouldn't be on the YouTube, just saying them, but you can read it for yourself. All right, 55%, 56, 58, 59, 62, 63, 68, 75. Know your data. All right, which on top of that, really, these are probably watered down. All right, it's probably even worse. I wouldn't even be surprised. All right, would you? Second one. FBI data reveals white men lead in America's most heinous crimes. 76% of welfare recipients in the U.S. are white. This one you can read. I'm not going to... Well, I can read it because they kind of, North Carolina white male Zachary Newell threatens to mass unalive 20 random black schools. And only the devil can have an idea like that. Because nobody... Who the fuck just wakes up, bro, on a Tuesday? Which that's that scripture, Micah 2:1. But who the fuck just wakes up and thinks, damn, I really just want to murder... Well, unalive 20 kids. Like, what the fuck is it? Bro, I get up and I think, damn, we still in Babylon. And I don't want to get out of bed. Let me go brush my teeth and go to work. That's what I'm thinking. Or praying to the Lord. Throwing up a prayer. The daily prayer, the Lord's Prayer. Praying that I can leave the house safe. You walking out the house thinking about shit like this. This is just a demonic man. You can't expect anything good out of him. And for all you people that are new, you're going to be extremely confused, all right, because where you're getting this video from, you're getting it from, GMS Kainos Yarawashalam, or Yarawashalam, all right, which I think there's no Y in there. I think I messed it up. So really, I should probably go in and change that. But, just to get it completely right. But you're going to go on my page and see that I'm a so-called white person. See, what you're not understanding is we're talking about Edom, the nation of Edom. And Ite is somebody that descends. You can be a so-called white person and not descend from Esau, Edom. All right, because according to the Bible, your race is determined by your father's lineage, your patrilineal. So just because you're a so-called white person doesn't mean that you're an Edomite. Because you might not descend from Esau. You might have just mingled with Esau. You see? It's not about appearance. But, although it's not about appearance, we know that the majority of so-called white people are the Edomites. And the majority of so-called Negroes are the Israelites. All right, along with the Latinos and Native Americans. All right, although a lot of Latinos, and Native Americans... very well might be, not Jake, depending on their stock and all that. You can't just assume that somebody, because he came from Argentina or because he came from, especially places like that, like Argentina and Chile, place to have more so-called white populace. You need to, you can't just assume because somebody's from a certain country that they're automatically an Israelite. But the Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians are the Israelites according to the Bible. All right, those that descend from Negro and Indian, Western Indian, not East Indian. All right, that's Elam. But if you descend from Indian, indigenous or Negro descent through your patrilineal, you're more than likely Israelite. Okay, because yes, there's some tares out there, but we're, like I said, we're just the Israelites are the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians, and the Edomites is the so-called white man. You have exceptions to these. All right, that's basically summarize what I just said. But just breaking that down, because you coming into the truth, you need to know things like that. Okay, it's important to understand things like that early on, because you don't want to build this, the foundation of this truth upon being black and being dark skinned or what. That's not what this is about. All right, this is about the Israelites coming back to their true heritage. All right, like it says in Baruch chapter 4, I believe verse 28. Or no. It's the last. Let me just get it. What the hell is wrong with me? Let me just get it. And I'll actually close on this, because this is the whole point of the ministry, man, to wake up the elect and get the fuck out of here, Well, shit, that too, Baruch 4 and 28. For as it was your mind to go astray from God, so being returned, seek him 10 times more. There you go. But verse 37, the last verse. Lo, thy sons come whom thou sentest away. They come gathered together from the east to the west by the word of the Holy One, rejoicing in the glory of God. It's all about teaching this word, man. Waking up the elect. Revelation 7 talks about that, how, the destruction ain't going to come till the elect are sealed, until they're built up. Okay? So, look, that's how we know we're about to get out of here, man. We're close, bro. We're very close to the end, and we just got to continue to endure. All right? But that's what this truth is about. The elect getting woken up. So the 144,000 and the 1/3 and the remnant, that they can get saved, bro. That they can get delivered from the judgment and the destruction that's about to come. So Esau can get taken down and the kingdom can be established through Yahweh Shai HaMashiach. All right. So Lord, when that this lesson was edifying, before I close, when we give all praise to Yahweh Bashim Shai, Bahashim Racha HaKodash, that honors the apostle Ezra Millstone.